When most people think about World War II, they picture frontline battles, tanks rolling across Europe or bombers filling the skies. What often gets overlooked is how civilians, ordinary men, women and even children were called upon to defend their homes, their neighbourhoods and their nations from the threats of invasion and sabotage. These were not soldiers in uniform, but bakers, teachers, shopkeepers and farmers who had to find practical ways to protect their families and keep their communities functioning under the constant pressure of war. Many of the tactics they used were simple, resourceful and effective. What's surprising is that these forgotten methods of home defence are still valuable today, not just for history enthusiasts, but also for anyone interested in preparedness, resilience or self-sufficiency. Neighbourhood defence was built on watch and warning systems. One of the most effective tactics of World War II home defence was the use of local watch networks. In Britain, during the Blitz, entire blocks of civilians were organised into fire watch groups. Their task was to scan rooftops for incendiary bombs and coordinate with neighbours to put them out before they spread. In the United States, the Civil Defense Corps created neighbourhood wardens who monitored the skies for aircraft and organised blackouts when sirens sounded. The core lesson is clear. Early warning and coordinated response prevent chaos. For a modern application, neighbourhood watch programs still serve this same function. A group of 10 households agreeing to monitor and report unusual activity, share phone contacts and rotate watch responsibilities creates a protective net. Just as World War II wardens used whistles and sirens, modern groups can use walkie-talkies, text alerts or even simple signal lights. It costs nothing but coordination, yet it multiplies security when official response times are delayed. Blackout discipline protected communities from becoming targets. During bombing raids, light discipline was a matter of survival. A single lit window could guide enemy aircraft to an entire block of homes. Families were required to cover windows with blackout curtains and use shielded lamps. Wardens patrolled the streets to enforce these rules, and fines were given to households who slipped up. Today, while no one is worried about Luftwaffe bombers overhead, the principle of controlling light and visibility still applies. In a prolonged power outage, a brightly lit house powered by a generator can attract unwanted attention, just as a lit window once drew bombers. The practical step is simple. Use blackout curtains, limit external lighting, and rely on covered lanterns or low-profile solar lamps indoors. This maintains privacy and security when conditions outside are uncertain. When two civilians understood that blending in could save lives, and that lesson still matters. Household shelters provided last-line protection. Across Europe, families constructed small shelters to withstand blasts. In Britain, the Anderson shelter was a corrugated steel half buried in the garden, covered with soil to absorb shock. In cities, Morrison shelters, reinforced steel tables, were placed inside homes where families could crawl under during raids. These weren't glamorous or comfortable, but they saved thousands of lives. For modern times, the lesson isn't about digging a bunker in the backyard. It's about having a designated safe space in the home. A basement corner reinforced with shelving, sandbags, or even heavy furniture can provide protection from debris during storms or civil unrest. Families who prepare ahead of time, storing water, first aid and emergency supplies in this area, are following the same logic that WWII civilians used: create a fallback space that keeps you alive when everything outside is unsafe. Fire defence was organised at the household and street level. Incendiary bombs were one of the most common weapons used against cities. They were small, cheap, and designed to set rooftops ablaze. Civilians responded by keeping buckets of sand and water in stairwells, while fire watchers patrolled rooftops with stirrup pumps to douse flames. Whole neighbourhoods were trained to attack fires before they spread, because, waiting for the fire brigade was often too late. The modern version of this is about being equipped to deal with small emergencies before they escalate. Every household can store basic extinguishers, buckets and garden hoses for quick response. Neighbours can coordinate by designating water sources and checking hydrant access. It's not just about putting out fires, it's about recognising that in a crisis, community action always beats waiting passively for outside help. World War II proved that ordinary people, given simple tools and training, could defend their streets against devastating firestorms. Improvised fortifications slowed down intruders. In countries under direct threat of invasion, civilians prepared makeshift fortifications. In Britain, homeowners reinforced doors with crossbars, braced windows with sandbags, and even built barricades from furniture. In rural areas, trenches and earth berms were dug to protect against strafing attacks. These measures were never meant to stop a full military assault, but they did buy time and, well, create psychological confidence. The modern application is home hardening, reinforcing door frames, installing locks that resist prying, and placing heavy furniture against vulnerable entry points can deter or delay intruders. In storm-prone areas, boarding windows with plywood follows the same principle. The WWII mindset was not about perfection, but about creating layers of difficulty that discouraged the enemy. That same thinking applies today to anyone serious about protecting their household. One of the greatest challenges on the home front was food scarcity. Rationing books controlled everything from butter to meat, while families were encouraged to dig for victory by planting gardens. Victory gardens supplied as much as 40% of Britain's fresh produce during the war. Food was stored, canned and preserved at a scale not seen since. For today's households, the forgotten tactic is the combination of growing, storing and rationing systematically. Even a small raised bed can supplement diet with leafy greens and root crops. Canning, freezing or dehydrating ensures surpluses aren't wasted. The principle of rationing, stretching supplies so they last, applies directly to modern emergency planning. A family keeping a 3-month stock of staples like rice, beans and preserved vegetables is following the exact blueprint that WWII civilians relied upon when supply lines were cut. Finally, one of the overlooked but critical aspects of World War II home defence was the culture of training. Children practiced air raid drills in schools, families rehearsed moving into shelters quickly, and communities held blackout exercises. The repetition, well, it created muscle memory so that when the real danger arrived, panic was replaced with action. Modern households can apply this by running their own drills. Practice turning off main water and gas valves, rehearse gathering in a safe room, and run timed evacuations with the family. Just like wartime drills reduced casualties, these simple practices ensure that in a real emergency, hesitation doesn't cost lives. The forgotten home defence tactics of the Second World War show how ordinary people facing extraordinary threats relied on simple practical measures to keep themselves alive. Watch systems built neighbourhood security. Blackout discipline reduced risks. Household shelters and fire defence gave protection. Fortifications delayed threats. Food storage sustained survival. And training built resilience. None of these tactics required advanced technology or massive budgets. They required discipline, coordination, and the will to adapt. For history enthusiasts, these methods are a window into the daily struggles of civilians during the war. For survivalists and modern families, they're a ready-made manual of resilience. What worked under bombs, scarcity and invasion can still work when power grids fail, storms strike, or civil order breaks down. The core truth is that strong communities and prepared households endure, no matter the threat. If you found this exploration valuable, subscribe to In the Beginning for more deep dives into the lessons of history, and share this video with others who care about preparedness and resilience. These are not just stories from the past. They are blueprints for survival in any age.